Hey, this is Big Jason Henderson. As you may or may not know, my best friend Scott Mongo Haines, he had a massive stroke this past Christmas morning, and several weeks later, he went to be with Gary. And it's very tragic. I was there. I drove down to Tulsa within 24 hours of hearing the news from his brother Jamie, and I was at his bedside for almost 2 weeks, and I spent the night, most nights in the hospital, and when it was time for Scott to be with Gary, his family turned to me and asked me if I would continue his legacy and update his course and all that good stuff. So that's what I'm doing the best way I know how. I've been updating shortcutcopywritingsecrets.com, and I've been updating version 2 of Scott's Shortcut Copywriting Secrets course. So I want to give you a little preview of what's coming in version 2. So as you may or may not know, in version 1 of Shortcut Copywriting Secrets, a bonus was Scott's hottest sales letters. All right. Well, for version 2, not only are you going to get hottest sales letters volume 1, but you're also going to get ad breakdowns of most of these ads. So let me go over a few of the top copywriters that are going to be doing these ad breakdowns and a little info about some of the ads. All right. So the first one was a Joe Polish Bootcamp Recordings letter that Scott wrote. It returned $41 for every $1 spent. That's massive. And it was not cheap. It was $1,032 for $121,776 to a list of only 3,100. That's massive. And he also did a follow-up postcard fax and a damaged set letter. So who's the copywriter breaking this down? None other than John Carlton. So nice. So let's go to the next one. Okay. So this next ad, I should say home run, was for Joe Polish again. It was for his yearly coaching, his Platinum Plus program. $10,000 a pop, $250,000 only mailed to 121 people. That's incredible. And none other than Boardroom and Titan Marketing's Brian Kurtz, a legend in direct response. He did the breakdown. It's ready. All right. The next one is another Joe Polish one. It was for monthly continuity, his Genius Network. All right. And this has basically the best guarantee I've ever seen. Once you see this, it's going to blow your mind, give you so many ideas. You're going to be able to model this for your own products and services. And Lori Morgan Ferrero from Red Hot Copy, she will be doing the breakdown. Okay. So this was a sales letter for a book. It generated over $1 million worth of book sales, and Craig Perrine did this ad breakdown. Incredible. This was a Gary Halbert lead generation letter to a cold list. It offered a free report and sold Gary's old stock trading program. It returned $21 for every $1 spent. It includes the voice recording script. You called a 1-800 number and got a voice recording, and he wrote that for Gary. This is Gary Halbert, and he had Scott write the copy for him. That's amazing. And the copywriter who's going to break this down is none other than Gary's son, Bond Halbert. Nice. All right. So for the same promotion, you know, some people on the list hadn't responded in over 3 tries. Three letters had been mailed. They hadn't responded. And Scott actually came up with this idea and said, let's send a damaged set letter. Did over $65,000. So $65,000 was laying there on the table, and it was Scott who picked that up for Gary and his partner. Again, these people hadn't done anything in 3 tries already. All right. And what's crazy is Scott mentions in the description of this letter that he came up with this crazy order form that worked like magic. Only Gary's partner hated it. He didn't want to run it, but Scott basically had to beg and plead and just demand that they run it. So after the $65,000, they had no problem with it. But Scott lost it. He didn't have it offline. He didn't have it on his computer. Or did he? I actually found it. So you're going to get that. His magic order form that you can use today. There it is. All right, the next one was a J. Abraham letter. Yes, Scott wrote for Gary Halbert, Joe Polish, Rich Sheffrin, Agora, Target Focus Training, and J. Abraham, and many more. So this was an extra profits letter. There was over 170 bullets. That's crazy. And Tony Flores will be doing the ad breakdown. And there's an email that was driving people to this letter, and you'll get the email as well. Most people know Scott as a sales letter writer, which is a good call, but he also did a lot of emails too. All right, the next is a lead gen letter for a offline seminar for real estate. It blasted the client's control, and the copywriter who's going to break this down is Ben Settle. Ben Settle is a huge Scott Haines fan. And we also went over two different versions because even though the main version blasted the client's control to smithereens, Scott felt he could have done even better by offering a guarantee. So me and Ben covered both versions. All right, and last but not least for Volume 1, remember I'm going to cover Volume 2 in a second. The last one for Volume 1 is a Donald Trump letter. Yes, Scott Haines wrote as Donald Trump. And it beat their control by 30%. Insane. And the copywriter going to break this down is none other than Gary Halbert's last protege, Sam Markowitz. So basically, Scott was Sam's second mentor to Gary. When Sammy paid $27,000 to Gary to be mentored, the first thing Gary said is, here's Scott's course, Shortcut Copywriting Secrets. Go ahead and do this and come back and see me when you're done. Awesome. All right, so that is just Volume 1. Let's go over Volume 2 real quick. Volume 2 is over 200 pages. All right. The first one is a Gary Halbert copywriting seminar recordings letter. Again, Gary trusted Scott to write sales letters for him. Amazing. It had over 200 bullets. All right. And it was a home run. And David Deutsch, you know, he's on the Mount Rushmore of copywriters, according to Brian Kurtz. And he did the breakdown. And doing the additional bullets will be none other than Paris Lampropoulos. Stud. He's another top copywriter, right up there with David Deutsch. And you want to know who referred me to Paris? Clayton Makepeace. Clayton Makepeace said, if you want someone to do bullets, get Paris. Just a second. Clayton is actually doing a breakdown on one of these, so hold on. But yeah, there's so many bullets that I got Paris Lampropoulos to do just bullets on Clayton Makepeace's referral. All right. The next one is, again, for Gary Halbert's stock system, but unknown to everyone, including Bon Halbert, this was an actual Gary Halbert letter issue that everyone assumes Gary wrote. Nope, Scott wrote it, but no one knew about it. It did 186 orders at $970 a pop for a total of $119,756 to a list of only 3K. Awesome. So this is a special Gary Halbert letter issue that you're going to get. And the copywriter that broke it down is Amit Suneja. He's another Gary Halbert protege, a good friend of me and Scott's. All right. The next one. Again, another Gary Halbert issue that Scott Ghost wrote. It was for Gary's Internet Marketing Seminar recordings. 98 orders at $1,222 a pop for $119,756 to, again, a list of only 3,000. Trevor Toecracker Crook is going to do that breakdown. All right, here's a email marketing offline seminar. Scott sold 60 seats at $5K a pop for $300,000. And Kevin Rogers is going to be doing that breakdown. Next, this is another offline seminar and coaching program. Scott sold 30 spots at $7,495 a pop for $224,850. Harlan Kilstein will be doing the breakdown. All right. This was a letter in the prepper survival niche. It's one of the more recent ones. It did millions in sales, and David Garfinkel will be doing the breakdown. All right. This is a letter that beat a control in health and wellness. The control that Scott beat had been mailed over 30 million times. Huge control, and Scott smashed it. And Craig Clemens, the top copywriter, will be doing the breakdown, and he's in a related niche, and he knows all kinds. He knows about the law, so he gives some great advice on what you can and cannot say when it comes to health and wellness. So I really enjoyed that breakdown with Craig. All right. Here's one that's just insane. This was a lead gen letter that Scott wrote for a free teleseminar with Gary Halbert. So it's sent offline to attend a free teleseminar. And those customers that Scott got to respond and get on the teleseminar, they hadn't been mailed. And the list was only 13,000. And that list of 13,000 hadn't been mailed in over 2 to 3 years. Okay. Now just think about the applications for online and email today when you have a dead list that hasn't been mailed for a long time. So all the customers that Scott got on the teleseminar ended up bringing in the client over $6.5 million in over 14 or 15 months. Free teleseminar revived a dead list of 13,000, hadn't been mailed in 2 to 3 years, and the client generated over $6.5 million over 15 months. That is insane. And the copywriter who's going to be breaking it down is Adam Carroll. He studied under Paris Lampropoulos. He's written for, let me see here, Agora, Rodale, Bulletproof Coffee. So I'm doing this coming Thursday, so I'm really looking forward to that. All right. The next one, it's for a $3,970 software. All right. And the first 3 to 4 years that it ran, it did over $4 million for Scott's longest running client. So you think that Scott's written a lot of letters for Joe Polish? He's written way more for this client. And I can't even tell you who the client is anywhere online or offline because that client is still using Scott's stuff today. The letter I'm talking about right now for the $3,970 software, it's still a control today. Over 14 years, it's been a control, and the client put it online, and it's still kicking butt, and he cannot find a copywriter to beat Scott's control. So again, for about 3 to 4 years, did over 4 million, and 14 years later, it's still a control. The only reason Scott's longest running client is allowing me to include these letters that Scott wrote that are still being used is because I'm not going to reveal the client's name, and I've changed the names of the products and certain details, so it's going to make it hard to figure out who it is. But everything else is the same. That's incredible. And the copywriter who's going to be breaking this down is $1 Million Mike Morgan. And it's very appropriate because Mike has several controls for Agora Financial. All right, this is another control that Scott wrote for this longest running client. I believe it's 10 years. It's a 6-week e-class for $2,855, still running today. Caleb O'Dowd. He's another Halbert protege. All right. And then, same client. This is for a $297 per month continuity. It's still a control, and Clayton Makepeace broke this down. And what's interesting is that Clayton kind of flipped it around on the other copywriters. He approached it as a copy chief, so he basically ripped Scott a new one. And you might be saying, well, this is a control. Doesn't matter. It was written a long time ago, and Clayton basically, he didn't say it sucked. He said, here's what I would do to make it even better. It's a double response. So extremely valuable. All right. Here's another one from the same client. It's a membership, one-time payment of $4,995. Are you getting the picture here? Scott could sell not only low-end products, but high-end, expensive, multi-$1,000 products. Colin Chung, he's a top copywriter today. And what's crazy is Colin first learned copywriting from Scott Haines. So I thought I knew I had to have Colin do an ad breakdown. And last but not least is the actual original sales letter Scott wrote for Shortcut Copywriting Secrets. This is the original letter, and it's done over, $500,000 with barely even trying to sell it. Scott barely promoted it. And the copywriter breaking it down is John Angelace. I believe that's his name. He's currently running for Agora. He actually used this as a template for a 5-year control that he wrote in hypnosis. And he used another Scott Haines letter as a template to model, to swipe, whatever you want to call it, for a letter he just wrote in survival. So a lot of top copywriters respect Scott's work. So I hope you're excited. So how can you get your hands on version 2 of Shortcut Copywriting Secrets, his new swipes, the new ad breakdowns? What you want to do is go to shortcutcopywritingsecrets.com, get on the wait list, and just for getting on the wait list, I'm going to give you a recording from an expensive Gary Halbert seminar. Plus, you'll be enrolled in a referral contest where you could win some swipes and never before seen reports. Gary Halbert and Scott Haines wrote the best reports ever. It's like they seamlessly transition like magic from high value into a hidden sales message where people are getting some value. It's a grease slide. They're reading either yes, 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 and all of a sudden they want to buy, and it's a free report. So I'm going to be giving away some of those. So again, shortcutcopywritingsecrets.com. This is here it is. So I was clearing out Scott's apartment in Austin where we lived together and we hung out. And I found this in part of a promotion that Scott wrote for Gary. And he had this cassette tape player. And I was like, what the heck is this? And it had a USB connector where you could connect it to a computer. And then I found this. I'm like, that's what it's for. So yeah, it's a killer message from No Sex Gary, a real honest-to-God way to get rich with direct marketing. Again, go to shortcutcopywritingsecrets.com, get on the wait list, and you'll also, once you opt in on the thank you page or the welcome email, I've got a link for the private Shortcut Copywriting Secrets notification Facebook group. So you want to click on that link, join, because I'm going to be giving away and sharing some never before seen copy, some start of sales letters, some market research, some really cool things that most people don't know about Scott that'll never be released, but I'm just going to be sharing it in this private group. So again, shortcutcopywritingsecrets.com. Get on the wait list, and I'll see you over there. This is Big Jason. Thank you so much for helping me continue Scott's legacy. I really appreciate it. I considered him my best friend, and I miss him a lot. So thank you very much.
Sure, actually, so I got into direct response in 2001, and stumbled upon this whole world of direct response, and I got really drawn to copywriting in particular. So I started studying Gary Halbert, the Gary Halbert letter, actually, old cassettes that I still, yeah, sure, absolutely. So that's the copy right here. The Gary Halbert Masterpiece Collection is next to it. Kick-Ass Copywriting Secrets is next to it.